Hi, and welcome to Opera Offstage. We have a YouTube channel now.
Yay!
So, we've been running a classical musician podcast for about 6 months now. And what we do is we make content and memes and jokes for classical musicians of all types. We, personally, are singers, but it's for everybody. And its whole purpose is to bring classical music into the modern world.
Cool. So today we're going to be playing a little game. You guys get to watch us argue about food in HD, which all of our podcast listeners love to do. But we're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to ask some Q&A questions just to, probably start some beef and entertain you guys. So we're going to start off with some questions. Jessie, are you more of an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm very 50-50 on this one. I've taken those, like, the Myers-Briggs tests, and I think I've always gotten, like, you're kind of both. Which I would say is pretty true.
What's your Myers-Briggs?
Either I or ENFP.
ENFP.
You're like INTJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. No joke, most of my close friends are.
Yeah.
I always say it's to balance out my emotion.
The inner chaos that is Jessie. Are you more of like an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert?
Introverted extrovert. Because I think I definitely value my alone time more. Like, if I don't have a lot of alone time, I feel it more than if I don't have a lot of people time. But even in, like, right now we're filming in the pandemic. Very fun. And I definitely feel that missing people much, much more right now. So I still do need people, and I still do get some energy from going out with close friends and having a good time.
Yeah. I would definitely say I'm an extroverted introvert. I like to be alone. But not for too long. You know, not without friends. So yeah. I'm thriving in this pandemic, honestly.
So, actually, let's talk a little bit, like, where are you originally from?
I'm from Thousand Oaks, California, which is kind of like inland from Malibu and in between Ventura and LA. I think you guys could probably tell by my California accent that I'm from California.
So I edit the podcast, and I'm really nitpicky, so I like to cut out some ums and ahs and things just to make the podcast smoother. So if you think you probably don't think we're very good at speaking, but if you do, it's also a lot of editing and like smoothing out phrasing and stuff. But
it's a lot of
I did at one point, like, just compile all of the likes from one episode for Michelle, and I'm waiting to release the like files.
The like files. Oh my god. Exposed. Yeah, so I'm from California. We both went to school. We did our undergrad at Pepperdine University, which is in Malibu, California, and then moved to Boston for a couple months and came back to California. So I'm just a West Coast kind of gal, you know?
Yeah. So I was actually born in California, but I grew up in Tennessee.
What?
Yeah. I was born at Cedars-Sinai, downtown, in Los Angeles.
Did I know this?
But I moved to Tennessee before I was even, like, 1 year old, so I consider myself a Tennessee girl. The joke is also that, like, nobody from Nashville is a native, so... But I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, so kind of in the heart of country music. I don't have a country accent anymore, but when I was really little, I had a heavy, heavy country accent. But I do use y'all.
Yeah.
That's about it, though. If I get really angry, sometimes it, like, springs out, and I'm like, I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe that I feel like I must have known that, but now...
Shaken.
This
shaken to her core.
Is actually fake. It's all lies.
All based on lies.
Awesome. Yeah. Jessie, what voice part are you?
So I am a soprano, and I would say at this point in my existence, probably light lyric would be the easiest, like soubrette. I'm very much in my soubrette period.
The soubrette era.
Yeah, like I'm doing the Inas. I'm doing a lot of the Inas, and like I love Oscar and doing some of the pants rolls. So that's definitely where my voice is sitting at this moment. What about you?
I too am a soprano, but who knows these days?
We're all sopranos.
I think I'm somewhere in between like light lyric and lyric. I'm like a little bit of a bigger voice, but not huge. So I don't know. I'm medium.
Yeah.
I'm a medium lyric. But I feel like I get cast as a lot of like more mezzo-y roles. So I don't really know what I am. Who knows? Maybe by next year I'll be
growing into it.
Yeah, TBD. How long have you been studying singing?
I've been singing like since I was little, But in terms of like any kind of formal study, I didn't start until about right after I graduated high school. I started taking formal voice lessons after I finished high school. And then I didn't actually audition for Pepperdine until I got there. So I kind of snuck my way into my music program in many ways. But here I am with my master's degree, and, you know, it all worked out. But I definitely started later than a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But before that, I had done musical theater, and I sang in choir. But I definitely had no formal training. And I was very much a choral singer. So that was a lot of my undergrad, was undoing all my choral singing. And I was an alto. So an alto all through high school. I thought I was a low voice. Rip me.
That was wrong.
Incorrect. What about you?
I started taking voice lessons, gosh, I don't even know. I think like 6th grade, with a classical teacher. And I didn't really sing classical music, and then I stopped taking lessons with her and then started taking them back up, I think in preparation for like freshman year or like 8th grade. And then I studied with my one teacher for all of high school. She's awesome, super close family friend. I did a lot of like pop, rock, and musical theater with her. And then I never studied really classical music until freshman year of college.
I feel like that is actually how it is for a lot of people, because even in our department, a lot of people were coming from the musical theater world. And some of them started out as musical theater majors and ended up transitioning fully to opera.
Yeah.
So I think there are actually less people who start off in like younger grades as classical singers. And actually I would say the most part, I actually meet more men who study classical music younger.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So, I mean, the good news is if you're not studying classical music in high school, you still can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been studying voice for like 10 years now. That's actually more than 10 years, probably like 13. That's terrifying.
See, and for me, it's more like 6.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess like how long have I been singing in terms of like taking it seriously? Like 8, maybe.
6.
Yeah. No 6.
For me, I was like, it doesn't change the answer.
Jesse, so obviously we host a podcast together. Jesse is the one who kind of like created this idea and then approached me. So do you want to talk about like why you wanted to start this podcast?
Yes. Okay, so I had been working on multiple like kind of multimedia projects and just kind of figuring out, because I'd always wanted to entertain people. I just like to. And I wanted to do more than just classical music because there's so many options online on what you can do. So I had filmed kind of like a YouTube series that I didn't end up putting out the summer before. And I was thinking about how much I just love learning new things, and I was trying to find something that would combine all of those pieces and allow me to do that work along with what I already do. And finally I realized that there wasn't really anything for opera on YouTube. I was searching online, I was trying to see if anyone was just making something fun and informative and making an online community that was more about just who we are now and what opera should be and what we could be, and there wasn't really anything. And I was like, this is a great way for me to continue learning and to continue writing and making things while also feeling like I'm contributing to what classical music will become. Because I always wanted, like my whole life, I wanted to do something that I felt like would leave an impact on the world. I think everybody does. And I was like, this is the thing. This is the thing I can do that makes me feel like I'm making something fun, but also like helps the industry that I love so much. And then when I was thinking about how I would do it, I was like, I don't really want to do this alone. And I also knew that if I was going to do a podcast, I don't think it's very hard to do a singularly hosted podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So if I was thinking of of all the people I could do this with, Michelle would be the best person to do it with because she's smart and she's funny and we get along so well. And our work ethics really balance each other out. Michelle is kind of half type A, half type B. I'm much more type B. But in the end, it really makes us work well together. And it's worked much better than even I expected it would. So yeah, so that's why I reached out to you. But yeah, I really wanted to make an impact, but also be doing something fun that would push me.
Yeah. I'll never forget. I don't remember. It was like this time last year. I got like a random text from Jessie that was like, I have something to ask you. And I was like, ooh.
My proposal.
Yeah, literally. And she's like, but I'll tell you later. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, you were like, I have a business proposal, but I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
And I was like, Amazing.
But yeah, there was just nothing out there for people like us, and I was just realizing that, like, there it is. There's the untapped market of something we could really do, where I think there was absolutely a call for it.
Yeah, definitely. Not a lot targeted towards young singers of our generation and upcoming generations. And I love social media, so any sort of, like, they know.
That's the other side of it. Like, I'm not a social media person very much at all. It's not that I hate it, it's just, like, it doesn't bring me joy the way it brings Michelle pure, unadulterated joy. I cannot tell you how often she sends me things that's like, what do you think of this? Like, what if we did these posts? And I love it, because that's the other part of the balancing act. Like, I love editing, I love doing all this side of things, and then Michelle comes forward with these beautiful posts and social media, and so it works.
Yeah, I definitely think that we spend so much of our time just leisurely going through social media, like going through YouTube, that it is very important that your feed is filled with things that relate to what you do in the way that we do it now as modern classical musicians. So I have definitely always had a passion into bringing classical music into a more accessible online aspect. And so when you reached out to me, I was like, my dream. I'm ready. Let's go. But yeah, it's been super fun.
Yeah.
It's been like such a learning experience, and yeah, we just have a lot of fun with it. It's a good time. So you asked me some questions.
Yeah.
Already can tell I'll probably be triggered, so let's go.
I've got some targeted questions. So Michelle and I have each prepared a couple questions for just each other. So something that I don't think people may know about us, because we don't talk about it too much on the podcast, but Michelle and I both like to play video games. I like to stream occasionally. But what's your favorite video game? It doesn't have to even be your favorite to play right now. It can also be one that just had like a distinct impact on your taste in games.
I have 3.
Okay. I have many.
Here's my list of 100. No, so top 3. As a kid, I grew up playing Pokemon. Favorite.
Oh wow, I know where this is going.
Huge Pokemon nerd. Love it. Do I still sometimes play Pokemon Go in 2020? Yes. Yikes. I don't care. It's still really fun. My other favorite game is anything from The Legend of Zelda. Just 10 out of 10. I recently played Breath of the Wild. Changed me. Like
Beautiful.
Top 3 games. That's probably my second all-time favorite game. And then my all-time favorite game is definitely The Last of Us. I'm playing through number 2 right now, and it makes me want to poop my pants every single time I play, but I like it. It's so good. The graphics are awesome. Just awesome. Love it.
What is your biggest non-serious fear?
Oh.
Like, so not like, I'm afraid of being a failure or something like that, but like, what's something that like, that is silly, but you're afraid of it?
I have like a trauma level response to aliens. So I don't know if I would classify that as a non-serious fear, because I'm so terrified of aliens.
Yes, it's a non-serious fear.
Listen, I'm not trying to take any chances here.
I only say that because not only are you afraid of aliens and anything, it's the alien adjacent things that get me. Like, it would be fine if Michelle was afraid of sloths because they're like weird looking, but she's afraid specifically because they look like aliens to her.
Anything that is vaguely alienish is also suspect. So I guess my most non-threatening fear is probably moths.
Oh.
They freak. If I know that one is around me, I am like tweaking out. I can't. They scare me so bad. They're disgusting.
I once had a moth land on me that was about this big.
Horrible. That could eat you. If it's the size of your head.
It's not gonna eat you. It's a moth.
You don't know that? I'm not trying to find out. I hate that.
Oh, incredible. And then, favorite place you've traveled? Or maybe, let me rephrase this. Place you'd most like to go back to.
Ooh,
which is a bit of a different question, but.
Yeah, Ireland. Ireland was insane.
I've wanted to go to Ireland for so long.
Let's go.
Opera Offstage trip!
I love Ireland. We did a cross-country road trip, and it was just stunning. And if it wasn't Ireland, then it would probably be Austria, because once again, just the most beautiful place. It doesn't even look real.
So little time in Austria too, because when we both went there at different times, it was on a trip to perform, and so not a lot of time to just goof around. But there's a place called Hermagor in Austria that is just the most gorgeous little town.
It's literally paradise. And just, there's a lake. And it's just, it doesn't look real. When you're there, you're like, I'm not actually, there's no way I'm here. There's no way that this exists on Earth. That I'm like standing here. Like the air is like, it's...
Daydreaming already.
Oh my goodness. Wow, I got through that relatively unscathed.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna, listen, we'll save it. We're a gentle easing in.
No unruly food questions. No long noodle.
No long noodle.
What silly accomplishment are you most proud of?
What silly accomplishment am I most proud of? I don't know, maybe being an affiliate on Twitch, which isn't like the hardest thing to do. And I do really silly games on my Twitch, but I've made such good friends, and I love getting to go on there and entertain people, especially during the pandemic, because, you know, obviously we don't get to perform a lot. And so I think like consistently streaming and pushing myself to put my face on camera and play these video games and sometimes voice act them has been just so much fun. Like, so I'm really proud that I did it and I didn't like keep putting it off.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
not your pro bowling career?
oh my gosh, yeah.
That's what I thought she was gonna say.
That's fair. I was a competitive bowler and I went to the state tournament in high school. So yeah, I'm a pretty decent bowler. That's one of my weird.
That's my favorite thing about her, honestly.
I have a long list of really useless talents that one day I'll just run through. Yeah,
Wonderful.
but that's true.
Catch us in our next episode. Jesse teaches me how to bowl. I'm bad. Which is probably not that surprising. Super fun. Okay, last one. What's your favorite memory from doing music over the years? No memories.
No, it's like there's a lot of good memories of like shows I've done and people I've done shows with, and
I thought you were gonna say people I've done.
beep. Not on this episode.
I was like, wow, bold. You gotta say the 10 plus hours we would spend on those choir buses.
Oh wow.
Just driving all of each other
Chorus
insane.
buses are a lot of my favorite memories. But there was also like I said, we went to Germany, and I went to Germany with a bunch of people, and like, I don't know, there's something about going and traveling with a big group of musicians, and like I loved all the musicians on that trip. So that was a really special time for me. But like, let me pull like one specific memory, because let me just say this, there are tons and tons of memories I could pull of like moments that were so special to me over the years. But I would say, actually, one of my favorite memories of doing music, so like in undergrad, like it was a rough time for me of like just really pushing to become a musician and to really grow into like where I was confident and like I can do this and this is what I want to be. And I think for me, one of my favorite moments was after I had actually graduated, when I was on that trip to Germany. I did Der Hirt auf dem Felsen, the big 12-minute Schubert piece, for the first time in the concert, and they gave me that beautiful chamber piece, and that was just such a big accomplishment for me to perform for 12 minutes straight in front of people. And I also had this old wanderer who I had met in the city who came to the concert to watch, who was sitting in the front row. He wore full leather. He had this big leather chain-bound book. But he came to the concert to watch, and he still comes back to watch the concert when the school travels there every year. So I think that was just like a really big moment for me that like I hold very dear to my heart, where I felt like I had proved something to myself and to some of the teachers I had had over the years. Yeah, so I think that's a special one to me.
That's awesome.
But it's hard because there's so many. There's Pop Lock and Dropping It backstage during Donk. Donk said Osiris in flute.
In Magic Flute.
Like, I mean, what would you say? What's a big memory for you?
Sleeping on the music building couch.
Wow. Real.
Which was basically a sport to me by senior year. No, I think like definitely the memories are tied to people and the people that you become so close with because you're literally with them 24/7, kind of like undergoing the same trials that they are going under as well. And it's just, I think like the best part of doing music is the people that you get to meet and become friends with.
So I hope that lets you get to know us a little bit better. We definitely learned some things about each other. Michelle is still baffled that she didn't know where I was born.
Shocking. Exposed.
But we've got a ton of really cool stuff planned for this channel, so if you've enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe so you can see what else we're about to put out. Our socials for everything else are in our description, and obviously we've got 6 months worth of episodes on our podcast, so go check us out there. We're on Spotify, Google Play, and on Apple Podcasts. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye!